Dear students, today we are going to discuss one of the most thought provoking and contemporary questions in IR. The question is, can you imagine a world without interstate relations? Explain the importance of IR in the nuclear age. This is not merely a theoretical question, it is a practical reflection of the realities of the modern international system. The examiner expects you to do two things: explain why interstate relations are indispensable in the contemporary world. Number two, discuss why the discipline of IR has become even more important in the nuclear age. Therefore, your answer must move from a hypothetical scenario, a world without relations among states, to the practical necessity of diplomacy, cooperation, and strategic stability in an era where nuclear weapons possess the capacity to destroy human civilization. Let us begin with a simple thought experiment. Imagine that tomorrow every country decides to cut off diplomatic relations with the rest of the world. There are no embassies, no treaties, no trade, no international organizations, no flights, no communication, no cooperation on climate change, pandemics, terrorism, or humanitarian crises. Every country lives entirely on its own. Would such a world be peaceful? Certainly not. Instead, it would be characterized by mistrust, misunderstanding, economic collapse, political instability, and an increased likelihood of war. Now imagine that many of these isolated states possess nuclear weapons. The consequences would be catastrophic. This simple illustration demonstrates why interstate relations are not a luxury but a necessity, especially in the nuclear age. The renowned American president John F. Kennedy warned humanity: mankind must put an end to war before war puts an end to mankind. His words remain profoundly relevant in an era where nuclear conflict could threaten the survival of the civilization itself. So the question is, can we imagine a world without interstate relations? The simple answer is no. Modern civilization is built upon cooperation among sovereign states. No country today is entirely self sufficient. Every nation depends upon others for trade, technology, energy, food, investment, security, scientific research, environmental protection. International interaction has become the foundation of political stability and economic development. Without interstate relations, the international system would descend into uncertainty and disorder. So the question is, why are interstate relations indispensable? The answer to it is in the point many points. The main point is political stability. Diplomatic relations enable governments to communicate even during periods of disagreement. Embassies, diplomatic negotiations, and bilateral dialogues reduce misunderstandings and prevent unnecessary escalation. For example, during periods of tension, communication channels between rival states often prevent crises from becoming wars. Diplomacy remains the first line of defense against conflict. Number two, economic survival. No modern economy functions independently. Countries import oil, machinery, technology, medicines, industrial equipment, agricultural products. Similarly, they depend on exports to generate employment, economic growth. The COVID 19 pandemic demonstrated how disruptions in international supply chains affected virtually every country. Without interstate economic relations, modern economies would suffer severe shortages and recession. Number three, collective response to global challenges. Many contemporary challenges ignore political boundaries. These include climate change, terrorism, cybercrime, human trafficking, pandemics, illegal migration, environmental degradation. No state can solve these problems independently. International cooperation is therefore indispensable, as former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan observed. Problems without passports require solutions without borders. 4. Promotion of peace. Interstate dialogue creates opportunities for peaceful conflict resolution. Diplomatic negotiations, mediation, arbitration, and international organizations reduce the likelihood of armed confrontation. History demonstrates that dialogue often succeeds where military force fail. So, to appreciate the importance of IR, we must understand the meaning of the nuclear age. The nuclear age began in 1945 with the use of atomic bombs during the Second World War. For the first time in history, humanity developed weapons capable of destroying entire cities within minutes. The invention of nuclear weapons fundamentally transformed international politics. Unlike conventional wars, nuclear conflicts threaten not only individual states but the survival of humanity itself. Consequently, diplomacy, crisis management, deterrence, and arms control became central concerns of IR. So, the importance of IR in the nuclear age could be in many forms, like preventing nuclear war. The foremost importance of IR is preventing nuclear conflict. Diplomatic communication enables nuclear armed states to avoid misunderstandings and accidental escalation. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 remains one of history's greatest examples of successful crisis diplomacy. Although US and the Soviet Union stood on the brink of nuclear war, negotiations ultimately prevented catastrophe. The lesson is clear. Diplomacy can save humanity. Number two, promoting nuclear deterrence and strategic stability. IR explains concepts such as nuclear deterrence, balance of power, mutual assured destruction, strategic stability. These concepts help policymakers understand how nuclear weapons influence international behavior. Although deterrence cannot eliminate conflict, it has often prevented direct war between major nuclear powers. 3. Facilitating arms control. IR provides the framework for negotiating arms control agreements. Through diplomacy, states seek to limit nuclear arsenals, prevent nuclear proliferation, increase transparency, build confidence. Although disagreements continue, arms control negotiations reduce uncertainty and contribute to strategic stability. 4. Strengthening international organizations. The nuclear age has enhanced the importance of international institutions. Organizations such as UN, IAEA monitor nuclear activities, encourage peaceful uses of nuclear energy, and promote non proliferation. IR studies the effectiveness of these institutions in maintaining global peace. 5. Supporting peaceful conflict resolution. Because nuclear wars are potentially catastrophic, military solutions have become increasingly risky. Consequently, diplomacy, mediation, confidence building measures, and peaceful negotiations have become essential components of international politics. IR equips diplomats and policymakers with the analytical tools required for peaceful conflict management. 6. Addressing non-traditional security challenges. The nuclear age is no longer defined solely by nuclear weapons. Today's international system also faces cyber warfare, AI, uh, climate change, energy security, food insecurity, global pandemics, space security. IR studies how these emerging threats interact with traditional military security. 7. Promoting international cooperation. Nuclear technology itself demonstrates the dual nature of international politics. While nuclear weapons pose security risks, nuclear science also contributes to electricity generation, medical treatment, agriculture, scientific research. International cooperation ensures that nuclear technology serves peaceful purposes rather than destructive ones. 8. Protecting humanity. Ultimately, IR seeks not merely to protect states but to safeguard humanity. Modern concepts such as human security, sustainable development, global governance, collective security reflect the growing recognition that international peace benefits all nations. For Pakistan, IR is particularly important because the country exists within a strategically sensitive region. Pakistan's security environment includes nuclear deterrence in South Asia, relations with India, a strategic partnership with China, relations with the United States, developments in Afghanistan, counterterrorism cooperation, participation in international organizations. Maintaining strategic stability while avoiding escalation requires effective diplomacy, responsible foreign policy, and continuous engagement with the international community. Thus, IR provides the intellectual foundation for Pakistan's national security and foreign policy. The importance of IR in the nuclear age has increased further because of modernization of nuclear arsenals, cyber threats to nuclear infrastructure, artificial intelligence and military decision making, space based military technologies, nuclear terrorism, great power competition, regional conflicts involving nuclear armed states. These developments demonstrate that international peace depends not only upon military capability but also upon dialogue, transparency, and cooperation. Some scholars argue that nuclear weapons themselves have prevented major wars by creating powerful deterrents among nuclear states. Others contend that the continued existence of nuclear weapons poses an unacceptable risk to humanity due to the possibility of accidents, miscalculations, or unauthorized use. Regardless of this debate, both perspectives agree on one essential point: the greater the destructive potential of weapons, the greater the importance of IR. Diplomacy, communication, confidence building, and international institutions become indispensable in reducing risk and maintaining stability. Dear students, a world without interstate relations is neither practical nor desirable. Modern civilization depends upon continuous interaction among states for political stability, economic development, technological progress, environmental protection, and collective security. In the nuclear age, these interactions have become even more critical because the consequences of conflict extend far beyond national borders. IR provides the theoretical and practical framework for preventing war, managing crisis, promoting diplomacy, facilitating arms control, strengthening international organizations, and encouraging peaceful cooperation among nations. As long as nuclear weapons exist, humanity's survival will depend not only upon military strength but also upon responsible diplomacy and informed international engagement. The British philosopher Bertrand Russell, reflecting on the dangers of nuclear conflict, widely advised, remember your humanity and forget the rest. This timeless message captures the true purpose of IR in the nuclear age. While states continue to pursue their nuclear threats, they must also recognize their shared responsibility to preserve international peace and protect future generations from the devastating consequences of nuclear war. Students, whenever the examiner asks, can you imagine a world without interstate relations? Explain the importance of IR in the nuclear age. Begin by demonstrating why interstate relations are indispensable in the modern world. Then shift your focus to the nuclear age, explaining how nuclear weapons have increased the importance of diplomacy, deterrence, arms control, international organizations, crisis management, and global cooperation. Support your arguments with historical examples such as Cuban Missile Crisis, contemporary security challenges in Pakistan's strategic environment. Conclude by emphasizing that the existence of nuclear weapons make IR more important, not less, because humanity's security depends upon dialogue, restraint, and cooperative international engagement. This balanced and analytical approach reflects the depth expected by CSS and PMS examiners. Remember it. Thank you very much in the end.